What are we doing? We're doing week 5 of week 22, or of WOW 2022, week 5. Can you build a reference box? So, this is Erica Hughes' first challenge as one of our new coaches. And we're excited to have her part of the Workout Wednesday team. And this is kind of a new challenge. So this is kind of kicking off a new thing for Workout Wednesday. So over the next 3 weeks, Erica, myself, and Kyle are going to be creating 3 different pieces of a larger dashboard, so that at the end of the 3rd week, after Kyle's challenge, you'll have a full dashboard. So my piece is going to complement what Erica does, and then Kyle's is going to complement what we each do. So we're really looking forward to it. It's something we've kind of kicked around before with previous years, but never kind of got around to doing it. So here we go. So the first part, we're just going to build a scatter plot with a statistical reference box around it. So if we slide over here to Tableau Public and take a look at it, we've got sales by state, and we've got sales and profit ratio by state, and then she's got looks like we're going to have to do some dotted median lines, as well as a reference box that shows kind of the statistical area, which is going to be in between the 25th and 75th percentiles for each of our measures. So that's what we're going to build. So let's go jump over to Tableau. And I think we're just going to use the Superstore data set. So we'll go ahead and connect to that. We know that state is going to be the first thing we're going to do. We're going to jump out. We're going to put state out onto the detail. And then, of course, because we have said that because this comes in the TDS as a geographic feature, Tableau says, oh, you want to make a map, but we don't. So let's go ahead and just control click both of those and get those off of there, so that we just have some marks on there. All right. So now we need to drag sales. And we need to drag profit ratio, just like that. Let's make sure profit ratio is along the y-axis. Yes, very good. We'll make this a dot as opposed to shapes. There we go. And that is the basis of everything. From here is basically going to be calculations. So really quickly, easily able to create this view, but now we'll go ahead and start creating this. So what we need to do is, now there's a few key things that kind of tipped me off on how to go about doing this. First thing, we know that we know that there's no grid lines except for the 0 lines. We also know, so that kind of tipped me off to a bit. And there's also lots of different, there's a dotted line here, so we've got some reference lines. And then I can see, if I hover over here, I can see Tableau wants me to hover on something, and so I see that kind of tips me off to some reference lines. So let's go about building this step by step. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to calculate the 75th and 25th percentiles. Just make sure that's what we're doing. I'm just kind of, yep, 25th and 75th percentiles. Okay. So we'll call this PR 75th. And what we need to do is, the first thing is fixed state can we do this? We're going to find out. Profit ratio. Percentile. Comma, 0.75. Hey, Tableau likes that. We're lucky. Okay, so it's kind of nice whenever you kind of fumble into the right solution, right? You have an idea of how something's going to work, but you're not really quite sure, so you kind of just write it out and hope you don't get any red red text down here. So let's talk about what we're doing. What we're going to do is we are remember how to read. I think I covered this last week. Remember how to read a level of detail calculation. Great tip by Andy Kriebel. Fixed means for each. So for each state, let's find the profit ratio. So let's isolate the profit ratio for each state. And then what we'll do is for each of those, let's find what the 75th percentile value is. Okay? So PR 75th, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. Edit, we'll make this the 25th, and we'll just change these like that. And then we also need to do the same thing for sales. Before we do that, let's just make sure that this is working. So we're going to go ahead and drag our two calculated fields out to the detail shelf. And then what we'll do, a couple different ways to add reference lines. One, you can do it from the axis that you want to do it to, or you can go to the analytics pane in the data window and select reference line or reference band. All of your different options right there. So we'll do one. We'll do this reference line, and then Tableau's. This is why, if you know where you want to put it, you kind of get a lot of different options of how you want to where you want to put a reference line. So sometimes this can kind of mess you up if you don't necessarily know where to put it. So that's usually why I do the right click on the axis to add a reference line, and then you know that you're going to do it there. So now the value we want to check the 25th percentile for profit ratio, which is right there. And it doesn't matter how it does. Let's see. The average. So, quick way to figure this out. So, which aggregation should I have? So this is one of my favorite right here. So, basically what you're doing here is you are doing a right? So this is the aggregation. So this is the calculation that you used. These are going to be window functions, right? So window calculations. So we have the window average, window median, window min, window max, window sum, and the total. So all of those besides constant, all of these are going to be table calculations. So let's go check to see which one we did there. So that is just below 18, or just below 20%. That looks just below 20%. We can put the value on just to, before we kind of do everything, before we kind of mess this all up. So this is kind of how I kind of started. So, but what we need to do is we need to figure out the shading. So the way that I kind of do this, several different ways. There could be a few different ways to go about this. And remember, I'm wondering if, see, we can kind of start to see kind of how this is going. When I select this reference line, this bottom reference line, you can see that above and below are kind of shaded this gray area. So I think we're just going to play with it. I want white shading above and white shading below. I know this is going to be a dash line. Is it a dotted line or a dash line? It's a dotted line. And yep, that looks good. All right. And let's see. All right. So what I'm going to do instead, fill above is going to be, she gave us the hex code for this. The box color should be this. Okay. F2, F9, F9. So fill above, more colors. F2, F9, F9. There we go. Okay. Okay, so now we've got that covered. Now let's add another reference line. And we'll do this for the 75th percentile. But I'm getting... That looks to be right at 30. That's not there. That's there. So my percentile calculations are not quite... You know what I bet we could do? I bet we can just... Let's go fix this. Let's do... I went about this wrong. So this is the fun thing about doing these live streams is you guys get to see me kind of work through the process. And kind of hear how I kind of figure things out. So instead of doing an aggregate row level calculation with a level of detail, I'm gonna make all these table calculations. So window calculations. So we see we have a function called a window percentile of profit ratio, which is already an aggregate calculation because it's the sum of profit, or the sum of profit divided by the sum of sales. And then it says we need to have a number. So that's where we'll put in 0.25. It's a default table calculation, and I know that I'm going to want this to be used on state. So now if I go back to 75th percentile and I do the same thing, window percentile of profit ratio for 0.2575. And we've got that there, 0.25. I want it to be using on state. There. And then we'll do this. Do I still get, does it still change? Okay, so you can see now it's not really changing anymore, right? That value as I change this because I've already set how I want that to be working. Well, not that, but so now it doesn't really matter what this calculation is. But now what we can do is 75th percentile, leave it there. None. None. We know that this is going to be none. But fill above is going to be white. So I'll move this out of the way and you can see what's happening. So what I did, so this is what we're doing is we're going to have we're going to have lots of reference lines on here, and we're going to layer them on top of each other such that the way that they get layered on top of each other only shows the blue box that's shown. So you can just see it when it was none. You can see up here that this is all this. This is that blue color behind us. But when I go here, fill above none, fill above to white, then you can see that you can start to see how this is kind of all coming together. And I I still want that to be white or blue. Yes. So here's what we'll do. Fill below F2, F9, F9. There we go. We'll go ahead and edit this one too. So fill above is that. Fill below is that. And we want it on the 25th. Right there. No. 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 Now, if I want to do this, if I go up here and I go edit, I can start to move these in a way that works. So so right now it's behind. If I move to front, we give that back. So, all right, ooh, you know what I bet we could do as well? Maybe instead of reference line. Well, let's just what would be great? Actually, you know what I think we're going to do? We're going to change this. So let's remove our reference lines. Let's go here. Let's do a reference line, but instead of a reference line, we're going to do a reference band. And it's going to go from the 25th to the 75th. And the fill color is going to be that custom color. F2, F9, F9. And Erica, the author of this challenge, has just joined the chat, which is cool. So hello there. Hello there, Erica. Just trying to get through your how we're going about to get this all shaded right. So that's kind of where we're at so far. So let's talk about this. So what I did is I changed these to reference bands. So it's shading only in between that. So now we can do the same thing for sales. So what I'll do is I'll duplicate these and then I'll edit them. So we're doing a window percentile, but this is going to be sales 25th. And this is going to be sum of sales because a window calculation has to have an aggregate in it. Sales. Close that. That looks good. We'll do this one, which is sales. We'll do that. This is going to be sum sales. Close. That looks good. Now we'll take both of these, drag those up to detail, make sure they're doing it on state. We'll do another reference band on sales. And this is going to go from the sales 25th to the sales 75th. Okay. And now we'll have that fill. Actually, you know what I think I can do? I don't think I need any fill here because it's already going to be filled up by my other reference band. So I'll just do that. Which makes me think instead of here we go. So instead of doing a reference band, we'll do a reference line at the sales 25th, and we will remove the none, we'll remove the label and the tooltip, we'll remove the line. So now it says fill above none, fill below, which is everything less than this line, we're going to fill white. And we're not going to show recalculated. All right? So now you can start to see this start to come together. So now what I'm going to do is the same thing, add a reference line, and we're going to do the 75th sales. Nope. Something. Oh, because I added it to the wrong axis. Add reference line. Sales 75th. None. 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 And this time, instead of filling below white, we're going to fill everything above white. Just like that. So that took a little while to figure this out, but we got there. We got there. And we've also gotten rid of, we need to get rid of formats. We need to get rid of grid lines. Let's see. She's got solid lines on the 0 lines, so we'll change those to solid. That looks good. Okay. Looks like we've also got dotted lines at the median. Okay, so that's going to be 2 more calculations. So let's go over here and do this. We've got, we'll do PR median, which is going to be the window. Now, 2 things you can do. 1, you can do window percentile and then do 0.5 as your measure, and that would be the median. Or we can just do the simple window median function. So window median profit ratio, that gives us a good thing. We'll duplicate this. We'll edit it. And we'll do sum of sales. We'll do sales median. Right there. Let's see. And, oh, this has still got axes on it, or it still has labels on it. None. 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 There we go. There we go. All right. Now we've done the sales median and the profit ratio median, so we'll drag those up to detail. Add a reference line for PR median. That doesn't look right though, does it? Ooh, I bet you I know what it is. I bet you this is dotted. And it looks maybe a little bigger. Yeah, that looks good. All right. So if I do PR median, compute using state. There we go. So you got to make sure your scope and direction of your table calcs is using the right thing. By default, Tableau says if you don't set it within the calculated window, the calculated field window, Tableau will just try to guess the default, and so it tried to do table across. And since we have a since there is no across, since there is no dimension on rows or columns, Tableau just tried to do it against the entire window. But we have to go in and we have to specify how do you want to do that median calculation. We want you to do it by state. So I need to do that for both of those. Okay. And so now we'll go add a reference line for sales median. And And that's going to be a dotted line as well. No, no, no. There we go. All right, that looks good. Let's see what else we can do here. Okay. Let's do the tooltips while we're here. So we've got tooltip. Bring it on over. We'll do, looks like this is like a state profit ratio. Is there, sales is there. Okay. So we don't need that. What we need is let's see. Yep, there is colons there. So what we'll do here, well, maybe not that far away. We'll just do maybe 1.5. So I'll set my tab marker here where I want it, and that's going to help me line things up whenever we do the values in a minute. So we'll do that. And then we'll do this. We'll insert, not here, we'll do sales. And now when I go down here, my first one is profit ratio. There it is. I'm going to center that. Nope. Or maybe we'll see. We'll see what this looks like. We'll do that. We'll push tab and that will take it. Since that was, we'll see what this looks like. Yeah, that looks pretty good. But it looks like she's got hers potentially centered under both, which is, it looks like these are smaller and not bold either. Okay. So did we, what happens if we center these? Hey, that looks better. Always uncheck command buttons, especially if you're only doing a single view dashboard, or just in general. If you're ever putting your worksheet on a dashboard, always uncheck command buttons, because they always get confusing for end users, I've found. All right, so we'll do that. We'll look at this. I think this can be, let's bring this back. Bring it back a little bit, make it a little bit smaller. All right, well, that's just gonna have to be how it is. All right, so we'll do this. We'll format this as a percentage. 1%, 0%. Nope, let's see. Yep, 0%, 0 decimals. There we go. And sum of sales is going to be number format, currency, no decimals. And in the tooltip, she's got K's. So we'll go back to sales, number format, display unit, not millions, K. And that too. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Now what we need to do next is we need to add in a selector for selected state. So we will do, there's two different ways you can do it, set actions or parameter actions. I'll show you both. Parameter action, start a string parameter, call this parameter state. All, leave it blank for now. I live in Missouri, so we'll go ahead and select and just type in Missouri as the current value. Then we will do create a calculated field. Call this selected state. Do selected or PR state equals state dimension. And that gives a Boolean calculation. So now what we'll do is we'll bring that over and put that on size. Looks like, yep, just a little bit. We'll edit these sizes so that it's a little bit more closer together. Bring the smalls up, bring the trues. I mean, they're very close to the same size. We'll see what that looks like. Oh, that's a little bit too like. Let's do this. Oh, that looks good. Okay. Let's see here. Now what? Okay, so now we need to also put our selected state calculation on color. And do you see how the selected state dot is below, or the Z order of state has the Z order of our selected state is behind that. So what you can do is you can just click this true and move it up. Now, for some reason, it also, when you swap that, it also swaps the size. So one, you can go in here, you can go to edit sizes and just reverse. And now you're back to normal, and now the selected state will always be on top regardless of what I choose. The other option is you can go in here, and what you're doing is you're changing the sort here, right? So a couple different ways you could do that, but just know that sometimes when you do that, things will change. Okay, so now, there's Missouri right there inside that. And what we'll do is, let's see, this band color does not look, the same as what you get, is what Erica has. So let me see if I can't. All right, let's just, yeah, F2, F9, F9, box ratio color. And I don't have any opacity on it, so that, I don't think I do, but let's see. Yeah, it's really, really, really light. It's all right. I keep saying it's all right, but it's really bugging me. So let's just go up here and let's just choose a darker color. Yeah, that looks good. That looks better. Okay. now we also need, so now we need to change the colors of that. And she also gave us the hex codes for those. So the selected state color is this guy. The false is this guy. There we go. And then she also put a border on each. And it's that dark border, it looks like. So let's go get this hex code again. Nope, not that one. Come on. All right, there we go. That looks good. Do we have any opacity? Nope, good. All right, let's see if there's anything else outstanding. I think that's good. So now let's go ahead and build our 650, 650. 650. 650. We'll go throw that out there. We'll add a dashboard title, which is, wow, 22. Yep. Let's just change it down here. Well, 2022, week 5. Can you build reference box? Take our sheet out here. We can remove this. Edit this to be, we'll say profit ratio versus profit ratio versus sales. And it's not that, it's VS. There we go. And I'm going to go one step further. So I've got that. I'm going to do by state. I'll do insert that. I'm going to drop this one down there. And we'll make this color that really dark color, or that really, is that the color it was? We'll see. Let's do, come on. Yep. Selected state color. Make it bold. And then we'll do versus unbold. Lighter gray versus other states. Maybe we'll do one more. Reference box shows 25th and 75th percentiles for each measure. There we go. Make this one a little bit up here. Bring this one up too. I want this to be just a, yeah, that's all right. There we go. And there we go. So now, we have to create our dashboard action. Change parameter. State. Select. Target parameter PR state. Source field state. No aggregation. Set. Keep current value when we deselect. Click OK. And it looks like she also had the unhighlight thing going on. Whoop. The dither thing, so we'll do that too. We'll do true. False. Put those both on detail. Go back here, create a new action. Create a filter action. We'll call this unhighlight. On the dashboard, from the dashboard, profit sales, go to the target sheet of the actual worksheet, profit versus sales. On select, show all values on selected fields where true equals false. Where does true equal false? Never. Therefore, it never filters, and we never get a, but our, okay, so we started adding dimensions. We added dimensions into our table calculations. So what we need to do is we need to account for those, because right now it's only doing it on state, but we have a different level of a different dimension happening within those percentiles. So what we need to do is we need to account for those. So if we just go here, no restarting at the deepest level. Does that need to be up here? And we need to do that for each one. Let's just make sure this is right first before we do anything. So I just changed that one. Let's see if things change. So that doesn't change. It's only getting wider. Does it get bigger? Nope. Okay. Yep. So I did the sales. So I did profit ratio. So now we'll go in. We'll do this again. We'll do selected state, because that's the dimension that also deals with what we set our window function to. So we need to do that for each of those. So we need to do that, and we need to do this, and we probably need to do it to the median calculations as well, even though it probably doesn't make that big of a difference in the long run of things, but we want to be precise. So let's go ahead and do that for each of those. And again, the reason that we have to do this is because we're changing the level of granularity of our, we've changed the level of detail within our view, right? Because we've added new dimensions. So we need to account for those in our table calculations. So now when I go here, now I can select other states and my boxes don't change. And Sam just said that he nests his percentile calculations within the LODs so that they wouldn't adjust like typical table calculations. Yes. At the top of this, I started doing that. I started doing nested table calcs within the percentile the aggregate percentile calculation. And had I continued down that path, we would have reached the same result. So that just shows you that there's multiple ways of doing it, which is really, really fun. So just kind of keep that in mind. So yeah, thanks so much. We'll do this again next week, and have a wonderful rest of the week and a great weekend, and hopefully see you next year. See you back here next week.